ask you the faculty member.
Yeah. 我就跟他讲说他是 professor， 我们都叫他 professor。
I'm the youngest of the 3 children. It is my very great honor and privilege to be introducing, for the 2nd time, the President of the United States of America.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much. Well, first of all, everybody give Libby a big round of applause. Libby is the same age as Malia, and it turns out that they're both learning how to drive. So Bruce and I share some concern, but they seem like sensible young ladies, so we're hoping that everything goes smoothly this summer. It is so wonderful to see everybody. There are just a couple people I want to acknowledge. First of all, obviously, for Bruce and Ann to have me back in their house, and the whole family here, they've been such great friends and great supporters. So can everybody please say thank you? Jay Inslee was here along with Trudy. They skipped ahead because we're doing something else, but give them a round of applause anyway. You can tell them later that we appreciate it. Your outstanding Mayor Ed Murray is here. And County Executive Dow Constantine is here. Dow, by the way, is a new dad. 10-week-old daughter. Mazel tov. You can't beat daughters. You can't beat sons. You're okay, but. Let me start just by talking about something that is obviously a great concern to the people of Washington. That's the forest fires that have been sweeping across a big chunk of the state. As I was driving over here, I had a chance to talk to the governor and get a full briefing on what's happened. Obviously, these are very difficult fires. Our firefighters take such risks and sacrifice so much to fight them, but it's a big challenge, and state troopers as well. We actually lost a state trooper as he was coming through a fire that was taking place there at a former Marine. I had a chance to speak with his widow and offer our condolences. So what we've done is to make sure that we are coordinating as best we can with the federal, with the state and local officials. We were able to get on the phone my director of FEMA, Craig Fugate, and we were able to authorize today.
You want me to snap a picture with him in the background of you? No. You know, if you email me, I'm going to YouTube this stuff. I'll send you the link to YouTube.
Additional declarations that may need to take place, but I just want to make sure that everybody knows that we are going to be thinking about and helping people who are being severely affected by these fires. It is also important to know that I've been talking to Western governors generally about the issue of forest fires because although any given year you can't definitively talk about weather patterns and attribute them to a particular source, what is clear is the trend lines indicate the potential for increased forest fires. We've seen the budget for forest fires jump extraordinary pace over the last several years, so much so that we're going to have to call on Congress to change how we fund forest fires. And a lot of that has to do with drought, a lot of it has to do with changing precipitation patterns, and a lot of that has to do with climate change. And so I raise that because in all the day-to-day challenges that we face that are extraordinarily important, a long-term challenge that has to be dealt with right now is making sure that the planet works for the next generation and the generation after that. And so we're very proud of the work we're doing right now with our climate action plan to make sure that we're building resilience, and that's what we're talking with a lot of Western governors about. How can we start adapting our infrastructure to what are already increases in temperature? But then also what can we do to mitigate the damage that's happening in climate change? all of which brings me to why we're gathered here today, in addition to the nice views. When I came into office, we were facing the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. In fact, the contraction was actually technically more severe than the Great Depressions. The difference is that we responded faster. The American people responded with extraordinary resilience. And so if you look at the last 5 years, we've now had 52 straight months of job growth. We've created 10 million jobs. The unemployment rate is the lowest since 2007. We've seen the biggest drop in the unemployment rate in 30 years, just this past year. Even the long-term unemployed, which has been a chronic problem, they're starting to be able to get back to work. There are more job openings now than there have been since 2007. You look at some of the other trends. Obviously, the stock market is up, which is not just good for Wall Street, it's also good for a lot of 401k holders who remember how scared they were back in 2009 and 2010. We have seen U.S. companies do extraordinarily well, not just here, but around the world. Exports on the rise. Our deficits have been cut by more than half. Our energy production has been extraordinary. We're now producing more oil in the United States than we are importing. That's the first time that's happened in a couple of decades. Our natural gas production makes us the leading producer in the world and has skyrocketed. But in addition, when it comes to clean energy, we've tripled the amount of wind power that we have, increased solar power by tenfold, all of which has contributed to the biggest reductions in carbon pollution of any advanced country on Earth. And so we've made enormous progress across the board on a whole range of fronts, from an auto industry that's come back and is now going to be doubling its fuel efficiency standards, to the fact that our high school dropout rate has been reduced, college attendance is in record highs. There are a lot of reasons for optimism. And by the way, there's this one other thing. There are millions of people now who have health care that didn't have it. And yet, despite all this, people are anxious. Now, some of that has to do with some big challenges overseas. I'm very proud that we have ended one war, and by the end of this year, we will have ended both wars that I inherited before I came into office.
Yeah.
But whether people see what's happening in Ukraine and Russia's aggression towards its neighbors, in the manner in which it's financing and arming separatists, to what's happened in Syria, the devastation that Assad has wrought on his own people, to the failure in Iraq for Sunni and Shia and Kurd to compromise, although we're trying to see if we can put together a government that actually can function, to ongoing terrorist threats, to what's happening in Israel and Gaza. Part of people's concern is just the sense that around the world, the old order isn't holding, and we're not quite yet to where we need to be in terms of the new order that's based on a different set of principles, that's based on a sense of common humanity, that's based on economies that work for all people. But here in the United States, what people are also concerned about is the fact that although the economy's done well in the aggregate, for the average person, it feels as if incomes, wages just haven't gone up. That people's, no matter how hard they work, they feel stuck. And that's not an illusion. Because what's happened is that a lot of our gains, a lot of the progress that's been made in this economy, and this is like a 20, 25, 30-year trend, have gone to folks at the very top. And middle-class families find themselves with stagnant incomes, even as the cost of health care or the cost of a college education for their kids keeps on skyrocketing. And part of what people are also anxious about is the fact that government doesn't seem to be responsive, at least at the federal level, to those concerns. Things in Congress feel broken. And that's why so many people end up feeling cynical, and they feel that, you know what, it doesn't really make any difference whether it's Democrats, Republicans. Nobody is looking out for us. Nobody is thinking about our lives and how maybe we can just get a little help. We're willing to work hard. We are responsible. We're looking after our families. But who's there to, when things are a little tough or we need to get over a hump, who's there to give us a hand up? You are. And so, and part of what happens then is that people get cynical. And when people get cynical, they withdraw. And you get a spiral effect, a negative spiral, in which special interests and those who are most vested in the status quo end up having more power, and people who really need government to work for them on their behalf, they withdraw, they opt out, and that makes government even more dysfunctional. So my job every single day is to make sure that people around the country who are working hard and doing the right thing, they know somebody is fighting for them. And that's something that we've been doing with Congress wherever possible. Today we actually signed a bill. It was shocking. I said to it was a bipartisan bill. Republicans and Democrats passed it. I said, doesn't this feel good? Let's do this again. We can do it on immigration reform. We can do it on the minimum wage. And we can do it on infrastructure things. You guys got us too excited. What happened, everybody? Do we have a backup mic? Can you hear me back there? Yeah! There's the one behind me. Do you think that might work? Might as well try it, right? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. Testing, 1, 2, 3. No. Good idea. Here we go.
Sound guy coming through.
Very good. That's all right. You know what? There weren't always mics around. So we passed the bill. So wherever I can make progress with Congress, I want to do it. Because right now, there are a whole bunch of things we can do that should not be partisan. We should be willing, as Democrats and Republicans, to work together to rebuild our roads, our bridges, our airports, a smart grid, all of which would put people to work right now, but would also lay the foundation for economic development in this country for years to come. We should be able to help working families who desperately need help on child care and early childhood education. That's something that shouldn't be partisan. Every study shows you invest $1 in early childhood education, you get $7 back in. Amen.